Hey everyone, this is another video in our mental health awareness little mini series of videos, and today it's a real privilege to have Rachel on this video with me. Rachel has a background in mental health and also addiction nursing, so she kind of brings that wealth of working with people to this conversation. We're not going to be talking from a medical perspective today, but primarily about how can we as a church better care for and love and support people who are facing mental illness issues in their life, either now or in the future. And so, Rachel, it's really great that you're able to do this video. Thanks for taking the time. Let me start with this question, Rachel. If maybe on a Sunday or midweek you're meeting with somebody, say down at the King's Centre, life's got back to normal and you're meeting with them, and as you're talking with them, they disclose to you that they're really struggling with some form of mental illness, how would you want to respond to them?
Firstly, don't act shocked or surprised because it happens so much, you know. A lot of people I talk to wherever have some kind of mental health problems at some point, you know. It happens a lot. It's not as rare as what we think it is. And so, and just listen, just let people tell their story if they want to do that, you know, just allow them to share whatever it is they want to share. Don't be quick to advise or judge, certainly not judge. Just listen. I think listen is the big one, really.
Yeah. Just before we hit the record button, Rachel, you were just sharing a little bit of a personal story from your own life in the past. Maybe you'd like to just share that if you felt comfortable, because I personally found that really helpful in understanding kind of how people's reactions really matter in moments like this.
Yeah, it was just my brother passed away. He got run over when I was 11, and I remember going back to school however long afterwards, and a lot of the children didn't know what to say, so they just ignored me, and I just found that really hard. But there was this one girl who just was a friend anyway, but she just kept being normal, and she was there, and we just carried on, you know, and she sort of asked if I was right, but then that was enough. And that I really appreciated her at that time, because a lot of the other children, you know, they were only kids, but they just didn't know what to say, so they just blanked me, and that was really hard, you know. So yeah, definitely encourage people to talk to people and don't ignore them.
Yeah. And Rachel, you know, I guess one of the fears and anxieties that some people may have is, but Rachel, what if I say the wrong thing? What would you say to somebody who's kind of fearful of that, and maybe because of their fear are not wanting to step in and not wanting to engage in conversations? What would you say to them?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, if you're going in with a heart of love and genuine care, then chances are you'll be all right, and you're not going to say anything awful. But you know, if the wrong thing does pop out of your mouth, which sometimes it does for the best of us, you know, you work through that, and you keep that relationship, that friendship going, you know, and you apologize if you need to apologize, or you try and understand a bit more. You know, it doesn't have to mean the end of the world. It's just learning to appreciate where people are at, and being fearful of saying the wrong thing is about you, isn't it? It's all about what you think, and whereas we're wanting to help people to share, and it's about them and not about us. And I think
I think that's really helpful, Rachel. I think, you know, that the bottom line is we want people to know that they belong in the midst of the crisis. we may not be able to solve it there and then, but if they know that they belong and that they're loved and that they're cared for, even if we put our foot in our mouth sometimes and then we quickly apologize, that's, for me, that's actually a picture of family life, isn't it? Sometimes, you say the wrong thing and then you apologize. I think that's really helpful. Rachel, I want you to imagine now that we are all back at the King's Centre on a Sunday morning, and rather than us doing this interview on Zoom, you're sat on the stage on a sofa with me, and I'm about to pass you the microphone. And the question goes like this, Rachel. Rachel, how can we as a church be a place of safety and security for people who are facing seasons of mental illness or challenges, internal challenges? Like, what can we do as a church so that people feel safe with us? And so I now swiftly pass the microphone to you. What would you say to the church family?
I think maybe we could do with learning a bit about mental health and mental health problems. I think it's good to get educated on these things to some extent. There's really helpful stuff on Mind on the website. I found about different illnesses and conditions. If you come across somebody who is saying they've got whatever it is and you don't know what that is, then go home, look it up, and find a bit out about it, so a bit more where they're coming from. But I think mainly just we're called to be mini Jesuses, aren't we? Like mini Christs, Christians, and Jesus was very much somebody who he did speak to the crowds, but very, very often he went to the individual, and he called Zacchaeus from up the tree, and he helped that lady who was caught in adultery, and he went to individuals, and he went to the man in the caves who was cutting himself and in chains, and Jesus sought out individuals, and I think, and he had time for them, and he accepted them as they were. He didn't condemn them. And he set them free. Actually, he did heal them, and he set them free. And I think we're just called to that ourselves. Jesus asked us to do what he did, and to be like he was, and to love people. And he can set us free. He can heal us, just like he can heal physically. He can heal mentally, emotionally, spiritually. All these things are on offer with Jesus, and just offering to pray with people, or committing to praying with them over a long time. Sometimes these things take a long time, and just standing with people, and not being afraid of things not changing quickly. Sometimes things take a while, and just being prepared to walk that through with people. And I think just being real, being honest, and not being afraid of that. Just love people. That's a good thing.
Yeah, you're right. One final question, Rachel, and this has just been so great. Thank you. Thanks for the way that you're, encouraging and helping us as a church. But one final question. Maybe there's somebody who's listening to this video who is currently in the midst of a crisis, an internal crisis. They've not told anyone. Their world is collapsing on the inside, and they don't know what to do. What would you say to them if you had a chance to speak to them? Well, you do right now. What would you say to them, Rachel?
God knows exactly where you're at, exactly what you're going through, and he loves you exactly as you are. And it's really important, as difficult as it can be, to reach out to somebody, whether that's your doctor, or whether that's somebody from church, whether it's the pastoral team, whether it's a friend. It's so important, to know that you're not on your own, to know that there are people who are really wanting to help you and to care for you and to support you. And it is a scary step to make, but it's so important that you know that you're not alone, and there's people who want to support you. take that step. You know, God understands, and He's there for you, and He's there to give you that courage as well.
Rachel, thank you. Thanks so much for taking the time to encourage the church in this way. Yeah, thanks, Rachel.